Welcome. Today, I would like to talk to you about the individual training components within the extension phase and after ClickStop. You can see 5 important components summarized in the graphic here. On the right y-axis, you can see the number of steps per day from 0 to 8,000. On the left y-axis, you can see the percentage of the individual training components, such as strengthening, balance, or stretching. On the x-axis, you have the time course from the start of the extension to the end of the extension and up to 8 weeks after the end of the extension. We will now discuss the individual components separately. Let's start with the asymmetry. The asymmetrical gait is beautifully documented in the Health app. You can easily activate it on the iPhone. The asymmetrical gait refers to an even stride length while walking. This should not be a problem if you walk with support, i.e. with forearm crutches or walking sticks. As soon as you train to walk freely, it becomes increasingly important as both stride lengths should be the same. If one step is shorter than the other, this always indicates incorrect loading or a limp, which should not be tolerated. Instead, you should pay attention to an even stride length and practice this in front of the mirror. In the initial phase of the extension, this is almost unavoidable due to the tension and the lack of training in free walking. An asymmetry in the range of between 60 and 70% is not uncommon after the operation. As you progress, especially beyond 4 centimeters of extension, you should spend more time on minimizing the asymmetrical component of your free gait as much as possible. You should always keep an eye on the percentage of asymmetry in order to train yourself to have a good and consistent gait. It is best to practice your gait in front of a mirror, initially with one hand on a handrail. As you progress in your training and your gait is good, you can then do it completely freely. If you have a consistent gait here without swaying your upper body, then the asymmetry of your gait will also be consistently reduced. In this picture, you can see how the asymmetry was recorded during the lengthening. After the operation, it increased quite sharply to a high level. However, through consistent training, the patient was able to reduce it until it finally returned to a normal level. The next component would be the number of steps. We recommend aiming for 2,000 steps per day in the tension phase, i.e., from 1.5 to around 4.5 centimeters. This gives you a good range of mobility, but does not focus too much on the walking distance so that you have enough time to stretch. Beyond these 4 to 5 centimeters, you should have found your daily routine with these and clicks, so that with disciplined extension you can gradually extend your walking distance. I then recommend taking around 500 steps more every 1 to 2 weeks. This should be done consistently and daily so that in the last 2/3 of the extension you reach a step count of 5,000 to 7,000 steps per day. The background to this is not only the significantly faster regeneration, but also the bony buildup of the extension gap. The number of steps they take every day will greatly support bone remodeling, and they will experience significantly faster ossification compared to immobile patients or patients who only take very few steps. I can almost always tell from the X-ray images whether the patients are only taking very few steps per day and therefore have to wait a long time for ossification, or whether the patients are taking a high number of steps per day, which in almost all cases leads to very good bone remodeling. Now we come to the individual aspects of stretching, strengthening, and balance. The distribution of the individual components during the extension and beyond into the consolidation phase. During the extension, we focus on stretching. After the extension, we add a stability program for the first few weeks and reduce the stretching work to 80%. This helps with better depth perception and gait control during regeneration. Then we add strengthening exercises so that you can rebuild your muscles and regain endurance and strength. You can train your upper body during the extension phase, but you should stretch your leg muscles and especially your hip muscles regularly, consistently, and with discipline, several times a day, without trying to build up muscle. As part of the stretching exercises, you should consistently warm up before a stretching session, as a cold muscle is always prone to a strain or a torn muscle fiber, and a muscle that is already animated responds better to any type of stretching stimulus. You can warm up slowly by cycling gently on the ergometer for around 5 minutes without significant resistance, or by walking leisurely. The same applies to cooling down after stretching. The intensity of pain when stretching should be between 5 and 6 out of 10. More is more harmful. Less is not effective. Spread the stretching sessions over several sessions a day. We recommend 4 sessions a day, each lasting around 1 hour. This will serve you well with your basic program, and you will be as well prepared as possible for an extension if you stick to the instructions consistently and with discipline. We will give you the appropriate exercises and instructions for each stage of the lengthening process. This will give you an efficient and well-designed schedule that will enable you to keep up with the bony lengthening. Nevertheless, discipline and structure are the keys to avoiding muscular deficits and to very rapid regeneration. You should also involve a local physiotherapist who will support you around twice a week and help you with the exercises. This is not about him doing the stretching work for you, but rather that you also have someone who can monitor and support you with your exercises so that you can be sure that you are performing your exercises adequately and professionally.